Hello, love. Let's talk about healing to love. Why do we need to heal back to love? What is that idea? The idea is that we are beings of love. Our natural state is love, joy, playfulness. Where do we see it? In babies. We see the purity of them. We see their divine self, their soul, when we see how pure, joyful, loving beings they are. Looking at adults, not the first things we notice. We will notice very easily when people are angry, when people are jealous. We will notice when people are depressed or anxious. Those are things that are easily spotted in adults. Babies, not so much. So what went wrong in that process from being this pure being of joy and love that didn't go well or didn't adjust well to adulthood? Let's look at the basic needs of a baby. When a baby comes into this world, he needs love. He needs to know he is safe. And he needs to know that he is taken care of. He needs to know that he is seen, noticed, acknowledged, and food. Food not being the first one, even though we think it is. But these are our most basic needs as humans. Now let's look at this from three different aspects. So the first need we're going to look at is the need to be acknowledged, to be seen, to be validated. We also have a need to fit in. And those two kind of may not work well together. It doesn't matter in which part of the world you grew up or to who your parents were. We all have a specific state of mind or a set of rules that we were taught in order to fit into the specific society we live in. So it could be religious ideas, it could be just like the country we live in that has like a specific different way of doing things. And when you move between countries, it is so easy to see the mental box that your consciousness is sitting in. As long as you're in the same society, it might be still a little bit difficult to see because that's how you live your life. That's like the spectrum that everybody else is seeing and behaving through it. So as a kid, we are often taught to behave in a certain way, to act in a certain way that is considerate of others, that is not 100% considerate of a specific need that we have at that moment or a specific want that we have. So in the short term, harmless, that's okay. We can deal with not getting whatever we want at every single second. In the long term, we kind of learn to step away from what we are and who we are and our specific path and the recognition of our specific inner compasses that lead us to our specific direction in life. The more we grow apart of who we really are, that pure, authentic design that came from a soul into a human form, into being our personality, we are kind of split up. Instead of being what we're meant to be, we are becoming something else. You can imagine how that takes away free flow of love to yourself, to society, to others, to relationships. You can imagine how that takes away the pure joy that you can absolutely feel. So the way our psyche is designed causes us suffering. The second basic need that we're going to talk about is the need for unconditional love. And that has to do with our emotions. If you look at little kids, they have the capacity to go from extreme, pure, beautiful rage into joy and playfulness in like 5 minutes. They have the option because they're feeling something. There's this energy going through their body and making them feel different sensations in their body. They let it out, probably screaming and kicking and punching something, and they're done with it and they move on. Growing up, we learned that that is extremely uncomfortable to everybody that's around us, and we need to learn either to do it faster or to just put it in a box and set it aside. So we're taking all that energy that we have in our body when something in our reality does not go harmoniously, and something in our mind or in the way we're looking, we wish things to be. When this disharmony shows up, this conflict, it creates something very uncomfortable in our body. As adults, we don't go through whatever's going in our body. We don't have the knowledge, the time, the patience to figure it out, realize what is it? What is the source of this emotion? What is the source of this feeling? What is it trying to tell me that is not okay in my life? Quickly fix it and move on. Instead of doing that, instead of taking this message that comes from the deep, deep parts of us, from our soul, from our heart, from whatever is reacting to reality, figuring that out through the emotion that is bringing it to our face, we compress that energy and we move it aside. And again, short term, so what? Long term, this is how illness is created. This, in the long term, over the how many years that you exist, can become immune failure, can become organ failure, can become extreme pain in a specific part of your body. That's also a specific message. It can become any kind of illness. It may seem silly that it's all self-inflicted, but this is the way the message is coming out to us through our emotions. And if we're not listening to our emotions, but packing them, they become packed enough that they show up physically. So we need somehow to learn how to deeply honor the messengers, our emotions and feelings. They are a message from our divine part, from our soul, from the depths of our heart. And they are here not to make our life uncomfortable, even though they are uncomfortable for us and for the people in relationship with us, but they are the messengers. They deserve the honor that you deserve. Third aspect is our physical body. You heard the word honor. Let's work with it some more. If our starting point is that we are a soul that is embedded in a human form. Sounds a little bit distant or weird, but we are a soul and we have a specific physical form to help us go through this life. This form is a divine design. The design is within our DNA. The design in our DNA has so much information that we are not aware of. It has way more information that at this point we are capable of grasping. But we do have a little peek into it. Whenever we hear of miracles, that is the peek into it. The body has the ability to heal itself. The body is constantly going a little bit out of balance and coming back to balance, a little bit out of balance and back to balance. The more our mindset becomes smaller and smaller and the box becomes smaller, the box that our mental kind of closes us in, because we start to understand life, even though we don't understand life very well. This itty bitty box doesn't allow the corrections that the DNA can do, that our body, that our innate, our smart internal system can do. When we look at a miracle, we see that the body healed itself. No assistance from the outside. Usually it's extremely spontaneous, fast. The thing is, the body can do that. It constantly corrects itself. It constantly goes out of its energy and back into it, unless we teach it to stop. If, let's say, slowly our focus of our mind becomes towards, I don't know, let's say wrinkles, gray hair, areas that are accumulating fat, that's what we start noticing. And we stop noticing the divine of it, the divine part in the human body. We start noticing only something that we do not like. And we put so much emphasis on it that it starts getting more and more attention and creating more and more of this thing that we have attention to. So, our body knows how to correct itself. We have the ability to heal. We may choose to support our body, and we may choose to destroy our body. Two options exist. We have free will on which of the two we choose, in which aspect we choose to do it. We can choose to breathe in clean air. We can choose to eat food that the body can use and enjoy and create that healing with. It supports the healing process. We can choose to have emotions go through us and not condense them into us. We can choose to work with our body and to remain with movement and flexibility in our body because it's important. And we may not. We have the free choice. All of these itty bitty life choices that eventually become our habits or addictions because they're not easy to change, that has a very, eventually it impacts the body, the way the design looks, the way we hold ourselves, the way our spine is either aligned or not aligned, that would have to do with what kind of illness, what specific illness our body will choose to present to us, trying to wake us up into healing ourselves or realigning whatever it is not aligned. So our physical form has to do with our basic need of feeling safe. When we feel safe, our muscles are free, we're not contracted, we're not trying to protect ourselves. The blood flows well, we breathe well, we are flexible, and the less safe we feel in the world, the more we contract. And then the energy doesn't flow well, and our blood doesn't flow well, and there's not enough cleaning of the body and maintaining of that health. Honoring our body is looking at it through that state of mind of understanding that this is a divine design, that we have divine DNA, that this is the thing we ought to respect and honor so deeply, because this is it. This is the form. I can imagine that when you fall in love with someone, you look more beautiful. Your posture is better. You maybe eat healthier, able to change some habits that you're not appreciative of. That's love. That's outer love, but that's also what love does to us. It realigns us. It brings us back to that deep honor of self and to that flow of energy that feels so good in our body. Summing everything up, when we are capable of maintaining these three basic needs, the need for unconditional love, the need for safety, and the need for validation or acknowledgement, when these three are maintained, we're actually taking this joyful, pure baby into adulthood. Can you imagine what this baby's life would look like if he's allowed to be authentic, if he is loved no matter what happens in this moment in his emotional world, and being honored in his body in the way that the food that he eats, the air that he breathes, the movement that he chooses to create in his body. This is a happy human. This is a healthy, happy human. Let's see how we get there through healing to love. I'm starting with being loved unconditionally. Unconditionally. I'm starting with being loved unconditionally. That is an inside job. It has nothing to do with any single human or pet around you. Nothing. That idea that we need somebody else to feel loved or happy or anything else is catastrophic. Love comes from your soul, from the divine, from within yourself. You were born with it. It's your birthright to feel constant love in your heart. This is like the basic tone of your existence. Without this basic tone of your existence, everything else is just not fun. So, bringing back that love into your heart First thing is to understand it. Second thing is to take time to practice it. The love wash is the meditation that I'm handing out here to you. The love wash does exactly that. It embeds the energy of love within your body, within your heart, within your body, within your energy around you, within your relationships. It spreads out. It starts within you and it spreads out. And the more you practice it, it's yours. You will be able to maintain this vibration of love in your heart. You will be able to bring back that authentic, eternal energy of love into your heart, into your life. So love wash is how we do it here. Our second need of being acknowledged, being validated, goes through coming back to the authentic you that you are. It goes through accepting all the different parts of you, all the different human parts of you, whether they're beautiful or nasty, doesn't matter. They're all parts of the human you, and we have each and every one of those parts in us. Accepting all of them is one way of bringing yourself back home into your heart and having that love flow within you. Because if you have a part that you're rejecting because you don't like what it feels like, I don't know, to be angry or jealous or judgmental, I don't know, doesn't matter. But if you have a part of you that is rejected, that part does not get love. And slowly, you have so many parts that don't get love that the flow is very low. No fun, not a happy human. The other part, one is acceptance, and the other one is, so one part is acceptance, and the other part is to really celebrate who you are. You have a very specific, very unique design of your personality, of who you are, of what you're meant to do here. If you cover that up, it will be covered up. If you decide that that is worthy of shining in this world, then that's what it will be. So self-acceptance and self-appreciation are the two ways we work on bringing more love into your body, maintaining that vibration of love, maintaining that connection to your soul and to who you really are and what you're who you want to be in this life. You understand the difference here between an unhappy human who is not allowed to love himself and a human that is in harmony with himself. Feeling safe. Feeling safe, we spoke of the connection to the body, but we also have the idea of relationships. Relationships are our mirrors. They are constant reminder of what's going on with us. We have an emotional trade there. We have different understandings about relationship, and eventually this creates a dialogue. This creates movement. If you're just by yourself, you're just by yourself and that's it. And there's no movement or progress in your human experience. But once you have relationships, even if they're not very harmonious, even if they're difficult, we learn from this. We learn about ourselves, we learn about others, we learn about our boundaries. And our boundaries is our way to keep ourselves safe. There is what feels comfortable to us, and there is what does not feel comfortable to us. And there are times that we would wish to expand that limit, and there are times that we would wish to protect. Our boundaries, the ability to say no, or the ability to say, I trust you enough, let's do this. This is the space that if we do not have self-love, if we do not have the inner authority to be authentic, there is no way we will know our boundaries. There is no way we will be able to say yes to life, because there are so many things that close us up in fear. Not the natural, like lion is chasing you fear, but fear that comes from our thoughts or from past experiences that we misinterpreted. And we have your free choice. What kind of relationships do we handle? Why are these our relationships, and what are we learning from them? Do we know how to work with our boundaries there? Are we trading emotionally in a way that is honorable to who we are and what we need or what we wish to feel and experience in this world? Our boundaries are kind of the flexible barrier between life is good and I'm having fun and this is uncomfortable. Summing it up, when this little baby, which is us, experiences a life where it's allowed to be authentic, listening to the inner compass of the soul, when it's loved unconditionally by itself, by yourself, by you, by the connection of you to your soul, and when you're accepting all of your human parts, celebrating the best of your talents. Can you understand how this baby will be joyful and filled with love and flowing with life? Do you understand what kind of decisions this kind of human will make that this kind of human will not? Do you understand why this human would feel extremely stuck, trying to please the world, having so many calculations to make of what is okay and not okay, and what happened to me in my history, and how that created some kind of stuckness in my life right now? And there's so many parts that do not work one with another, and the energy cannot flow. Love cannot flow. Our blood cannot flow. It doesn't work. Healing the way we understand life, healing our emotional state, the stories we tell ourselves that this happened and that's why I am like this and this is now my personality. Allowing those healthy boundaries, that is our way out, or our way back to realignment with our soul. That's our way back to happiness. That's our way back to feeling loved and safe. Not because somebody else is protecting or loving. It's an inside job. The only kind that you can do, the only kind that means anything. Because you will never leave yourself. You can do many nasty things to yourself, like not love yourself and disrespect yourself and make terrible choices that inflict your body, emotions, and mind in a bad way. But you will never leave. You can abandon your connection to yourself, to your soul, higher love self, which is what we do. And you can come back and you can heal no matter what happened. Can you imagine who you would be if you dedicate yourself to honoring the divine design that you are in your human form? Doesn't sound so weird right now, does it? Like it did at the beginning. Can you imagine who you would be? Can you imagine how that would feel in your body. When we have that deep honor to ourselves as a human being, as divinity within a human form, when we have that honor to ourselves, we recognize that in other people. We honor them for being a divinity in a human form. We cannot wish to harm them anymore. We do not need to fight for our place in their heart. We do not need to fight for anything. We are then capable of feeling joy. We're then capable of having that natural tone of love, constantly bringing things back to synchronicity, to alignment. Can you imagine? Can you imagine who you would be? Can you imagine what this world would look like if we were all taught, retaught, how to think, how to feel, how to work with our body? It's beautiful. And so it is. Your next step is the Love Wash meditation. You will find the link here somewhere.